Today I want to talk about the functional structure of the mind and how the brain saves and processes information, and a little bit about the decision-making process of the brain. The power of the brain lies in the way it saves and retrieves information from different sections of the brain. There are four main sections inside the human brain, inside our brains. The first section is instinct section of the brain. Instinct is everything that we inherited from our parents and everything that is encoded on our genes. That's the instinct section of the brain. For example, eating, sleeping, reproduction, gathering resources, protection, having children, protecting our kids, children, and the hierarchy in the community. They are part of the instinct section of the brain. The interesting thing is we share most of our instinct section of the brain with other animals. For example, we share about 99% of our genes with chimps, and even with cows. We share about 80% of our genes with cows, and believe it or not, we share 40% of our genes with banana. It's a kind of back to the origin of the life. That's why we share this instinct section of our brain with other creature or other animals. The next section of the brain is subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is a huge, gigantic database that holds all the experiences and events that had some kind of effect on our lives. Everything that triggers emotion in our mind, it saves into the subconscious mind. For example, the little accident or the little punishment or the little reward that you had in your childhood, all of them are in your subconscious mind. Whatever happened in a school that triggers your emotion, it's in your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is like the police of the mind and the body. Everything has to pass the filter of subconscious mind. For example, when a new information comes to the mind, when you see something or when you want to do something, anything that is input to the brain and out to the brain, it has to be checked by subconscious mind to make sure if we had the same or a similar experience in our life, if there is a similar experience or similar events in our life, if the events was bad, subconscious mind sends warning. The language of subconscious mind is emotion. Emotions like fear, anxiety, depression, jealousy, the feeling of guilt, and any other emotion. Any of these emotions, if triggers, the information that comes with this emotion, it saves into the subconscious mind. For example, when you have a little accident, when you have something that you panic, you fear, or when you have something, a reward that triggers your excitement, it saves into the subconscious mind. If the similar events or the same or the similar events happen in your life, or you want to do it, then subconscious mind sends the signals, again the same signals. For example, if you want to do something bold and you did it in your childhood and you've been criticized or you've been punished or time out for the something that you did in your childhood, if you want to do something again the same or similar to that, your brain sends you the warning message, because the job of the subconscious mind is to protect us against danger and especially unknown. Beliefs, values, religion, and culture are also part of the subconscious mind, because these things supposed to protect us against danger or unknown or protect our resources and our belongings. So they are part of the subconscious mind. There is a big flaw in subconscious mind. This subconscious mind has been evolved and developed in the old age. I mean old age, hundreds or million years ago, when the life was almost the same from childhood all the way to the adult and to the old age. The same issue, the same problem, and the same danger that a kid or a baby had was the same problem and issue that maybe an old age person had. So the subconscious mind in those days worked perfect. But now with the technology and with the advancement in industry, our life in childhood and our adulthood and different stage of the life is not the same. For example, the same danger or the same threat that you had in your childhood is not exactly the same as you having in your adulthood. Especially schools. In schools, students get punished or time out for being bold, aggressive, or something like that. In the school, yes, students have to follow the rules and regulation. But in adulthood, being bold and aggressive is not always bad. Sometimes you have to be aggressive and sometimes you have to be bold, especially in the business. But the subconscious mind doesn't understand and doesn't distinguish the real danger, real threat, with the unreal danger and unreal threat. For example, in the school, being bold was a threat to the rest of the students, and the result was punishing the students. But in the adulthood, being bold and sometimes being aggressive is not punishable, is not bad anymore. But subconscious mind doesn't understand these things and keeps sending the warning in the form of fear, anxiety, stress, and many other things like that. That's why we have so much problem right now. All the anxiety, depression, the feeling of guilt, inadequacy, and all of these things is because the subconscious mind is sending the wrong message, wrong signals, because of the thing that's happened in the past that is not matched with the thing that is happening in our adulthood. The subconscious mind was made for the situation, let's say about thousands and hundreds or millions of years ago, that everything was almost the same. With the subconscious mind, we are using an old system, an outdated system, and we have to use it, and subconscious mind has control on everything, even our thoughts. When you are thinking about something bad, when you are thinking about something illegal, it keeps sending you a warning. Nobody is witnessing when you are thinking about, let's say, stealing or something like that, but subconscious mind keeps sending you a signal, the warning signal. The next section of the brain is memory section of the brain. Probably you are more familiar with this memory section. Memory has two subsections. The first one is the long-term memory. All the education, schooling, training, and day-to-day life, they are all saved into the long-term memory. The information in the long-term memory is not available right now. You have to spend time. That's why many people, almost everybody who is reading too much book, watching movies or education or schooling or everything, it doesn't have much effect on their life because those information are in the long-term memory. It doesn't have much effect on their life because the life is controlled by subconscious mind, not by memory section of the brain. And the information in the memory section of the brain is just information, it's just some data. The reason is whenever you want to do something, it has to pass the filter of subconscious mind. If you read all the books about the success, about whatever, when you want to do it, the subconscious mind is like a filter, stop you. It doesn't let you go. And that's why subconscious mind brings you all the reasons that you should not, for example, start your own business or do something. Your memory, the information in your memory says it's good. The book, the motivational movie, the motivational books, and everything says, okay, go ahead. But subconscious mind, as the police of the mind, stops you. The other section of the memory is short-term or functional memory. Short-term or functional memory, if you know the computer, is just like the RAM or rapid access memory of the computer. All the information in the short-term memory is just right now available. But there is a big problem with short-term memory. Short-term memory has almost 5 or fewer than 5 spots available for thoughts or idea. These spots in the short-term memory has another name. It's called attention. And all the businesses and everybody try to get one of these spots in the short-term memory, because if you have one spot in my short-term memory, that means you have my attention. The spots, this 5 or less than 5 spots in the short-term memory is just like the prime real estate of the mind, of the brain. Short-term memory or functional memory is subject to hijacked by subconscious mind. Whenever something happens to us that triggers our emotion, for example, we are getting mad or sad or depressed or excited, that emotion took most of the spots in our short-term or functional memory. It doesn't leave any room for any other things in our short-term memory, in our functional memory, and reduce the capability and accuracy of our decision because there is not much room for information to load into the short-term memory. The next section of the mind is the conscious or the rational section of the mind. The job of the conscious or the rational section of the mind is to make decision. It's the processing section of the mind. It doesn't hold any information. It's just the processing information to make a decision. The main source of information of the processing or the rational mind of the brain or conscious mind of the brain is the memory. It retrieves all the information it needs, and based on the information, it makes a decision. Rational mind or conscious mind is the laziest and the weakest section of the mind, because when it was developed and evolved, there wasn't much need for making decision. Imagine 100,000 years or thousands years ago. The life was kind of routine. Everything was doing on a kind of routine day to day. Not much decision making, not much excitement, not much changes. That's why the conscious mind or the rational mind is so weak. If you want to test your rational mind or your conscious mind, try to make decision. For example, you can count from, let's say, 2 to 22, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever, if you want to count these numbers backward, it's not easy. What if you want to say the letter, let's say from B to K, is not bad, B, C, D, E. And if you want to say this letter again backward, is not easy. And we have something that is called decision fatigue. Decision fatigue means you have you can make so many decisions in a day. It's limited, and that's because of the subconscious mind. That's why office job, in spite of being sitting at the table, working with the computer, having your tea or your coffee next to you, and you can go and have get rest, you get tired. You get much more tired than if you work in yard or if you work in a farm. As you can imagine, this video was just an overview to the functional structure of the brain. There are much more to the functional structure of the brain, and much more detail and much more in the sections of the brain, how each section works, and how you can use the knowledge and information of the functional structure of the brain in favor of, let's say, your business.